Hello, loves. Welcome to session 2 of our creative hangout, NaNoWriMo edition. I'm going to be doing NaNoWriMo, which stands for National Novel Writing Month, but you don't have to be a writer to hang out. You can do whatever you feel like doing, whether you're having to make time for mundane tasks like laundry or fixing dinner for your family or just yourself, or if you'd like to grab your creative craft of choice and join in on the fun, you're more than welcome to do that. Last week, someone asked if they could take a nap, and I think that's completely valid. So whatever you would like to set aside time to do during this hangout, you're more than welcome. Also, I'm still trying to sort of play around with the lighting. Let me know if this makes me look too dark, because I'm thinking it might. I also have my remote with me. Wonder if just turning it down a touch might be better. Like this. Last week I had moody lighting, which was great in real life, but not so great transferred through a computer screen or a phone screen where I just looked red. It didn't transfer at all the way I wanted. So still trying to sort of perfect the lighting situation, but hopefully I look okay. Let me know if you can see and hear me fine. Leave a comment. Nicole's here. Hi. You are the first one here. Aren't you special? Gotta love supportive friends. Back to the creative hangout. I would love to know what you're working on. Are you doing laundry? Are you doing NaNoWriMo? Are you doing a craft? Let me know in the comments. I'm going to be working on, as I said, NaNoWriMo, but I'm going to be flitting through a couple different projects. I have, hello, Deb. Hi. Thanks for coming. So glad you're here. I'm going to be working on mainly this book that I started writing after college. It sounds very young and inexperienced, which makes sense because I was around 19 at the time, but it needs a massive overhaul. It's also not finished. I think I wrote, do I want to say half? I'm not even sure half would be truthful, but I wrote a good chunk of it. And now going back through my old writing, it not only is very cringy, and I'm kind of like, oh, should I even attempt this? But also, I can see what the story could be like if I just gave it some love and attention. So I'm going to be working on that, as well as flitting to my night sky project. I don't know if any of you have followed me on YouTube for any length of time, but if you have, you may have heard of my night sky project. It's my YA fantasy. It's a series, and even though I've written book 1, it also needs a massive overhaul. Not so much in plot, but in length. It's very long. No agent would touch it with a 10-foot pole because it's just so rudely long. So I just need to cut that down, but that's not what I'm going to be working on. I mentioned it's a series. I'm going to be working on book 2, which is not fully written, and I've strangely been inspired to write a lot more of that book after, I want to say, at least a half a year, if not a year, having no inspiration for it whatsoever. So I'm just going to be flitting through a couple different projects. I like to say that I have creative ADD, but actually I have real ADD, and I just can't choose one singular project at a time. It's a problem, but a good one, at least for me. It works for me. Nicole says, oh, why are you not working on Night Sky? Girl, get it edited. Listen, I need a break from my Night Sky project. I've been living in that world, that first book, for years. And I think I'm just at the point where I need to hand it off to someone else and have them do it because I just cannot. I don't have the headspace for it anymore. I need a full-on break. I need something creative. My brain needs that creative outlet for a bit. So I'm not giving up on it. I want it on shelves. I want it published someday, but I'm thinking I might just need to hand it off to someone professional. Save up for that. So that's why I'm not working on it, Nicole. Thanks for asking. But I'm working on book 2, which is just as important. You know, you got to flesh out all those plot holes. Nicole says, you know I would, but I would be mean in a good way. Yeah. Nicole, is the wonderful friend who's we've reached that point of friendship now where she's just very truthful. By the way, how are you able to be on here? I thought you were busy Wednesdays. Are you free today? Because if so, I would have invited you over and we could have done this together. Oh, well, that's all right. You can just hang out in the comments. Deb says, I'll be working on stuff for my next fashion collection. Ooh, are you able to let us know what that fashion collection is? Like, I'm very limited in my knowledge of fashion as exampled by what I'm wearing. You get my work hair, you get my outfit. That's just, I mean, I didn't dress up for you guys. I'm so sorry. Like, this is a low-key, we are friends, comfortable with each other kind of hangout. What was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, fashion. I would love to know, what are you designing? Is it like wedding dresses, or is it just you, like, are you trying to reimagine a certain period or style? Like, I find fashion so fascinating. I can't sew to save my life. I mean, I have found old pillows that I have tried to sew, and it looks like a 4-year-old did them. So that should tell you what's wrong with my TV. Oh, this video, sidebar. This video has a great ambiance, but it keeps giving me advertisements, which is quite annoying. Most ambiance videos don't, but this one has ad breaks. I may have to change it if that gets too annoying. But oh, Nicole says, nope, I'm at church waiting for my activity to start. I'm lesson planning and grading. I'll be off in half an hour. So you're working. You're utilizing the creative time. Good for you. I'm sorry you can't stay forever, though. So anybody who's here and doesn't know how this works, I'll explain it. And I'll probably repeat myself throughout the live as more people show up. But the setup for how we do things, we have a low-key kind of chat, welcoming everybody in to begin with. I pour myself a cup of tea, and then we get to working. We're going to have 3 or 4 20-minute sprints where we just focus on whatever we're doing. For me, it's working on these different stories. For you, it could look like knitting a sock. Whatever creative endeavor you'd like to do. You got 20 minutes to do it. And then we'll take a break. We'll stretch. We'll chat. You can ask me questions, whatever you'd like. And then we'll dive back into another 20-minute sprint. And we'll do that over and over, probably 3 or 4 times. That seems to be a good amount of time where you get your brain engaged, and you also take breaks often enough to where you don't get stiff. I am a professional gremlin mode positioner. I like to curl up in the most unhealthy positions, and my body pays for it later because, as I said, I'm ADD, which means I hyperfocus for a long time. Time becomes irrelevant when I'm hyperfocusing, and that means that I stay in one position for a really long time, and then I, reemerge from my focusing, and I'm like, why does everything hurt? Oh, that's why I haven't moved in 2 hours. So that's why we're taking breaks every 20 minutes. Hi, Sarah. Thanks for coming. Glad you can make it. Hello, Katerinsky. How are you? I almost read it wrong. I don't know what I was trying to read. Thanks for coming. Glad you're here. Also, if I haven't mentioned, you all need to grab yourself something cozy to eat or drink. This is cozy time. Unless you're, running around with your kids making dinner or something. I'll allow not quite so much cozy time for that section of you, but for everybody else, I'm gonna start off that cozy time by pouring myself a glass of some hot chocolate tea, as I like to call it. I have linked it in the description box so you guys can grab it for yourself. It's available on Amazon. This cup that I'm going to be drinking out of, I don't know how well you can see it, but it's actually from Germany. My dad took a work trip to Germany a while ago and asked what kind of souvenirs we wanted. For me, I am a mug collector, and I'm not sorry. So I haven't actually drank out of this yet, and I just felt like it needed its moment. It's also really small, which I'm hoping will help my tea not get so cold so fast, because the bigger the mouth of the cup, the faster the heat can escape. I've also got my lactose-free milk to add to it. And while you all are hopping on, I'm going to link this live to an Instagram story that I pre-recorded so that I can let everybody know over there that we're live. So give me a second. Let me do that. No, I don't want to connect what I'm seeing on my phone to my TV. Thanks, though. Let's see. Will it let me? Yes, it will. Grab the live right now. Add a link. Join the cozy creative hangout. All right, posting that. Okay, so have you all got your cozy food, cozy drinks? If not, now's the time to grab it. I'm going to pour myself a cup of tea, and I also need a place to put my tea bags. I never think of this. Ooh, this is why being sort of messy is a great thing, because I have a place to put my tea bags from a cup that I left behind and didn't put in the sink. Just gonna be honest. That's just how I am. But it pays off sometimes. I don't know about you, but as the nights get chillier, I find that I have a hard time getting warm because my AC unit is back there, and that's where my couch is. So I get kind of cold quick because of that, plus all of the cool air coming through the window here. And I just can't seem to get warm no matter how many blankets or sweatshirts I'm wearing. So when I drink tea, that seems to warm me from the inside out, and it's just the most cozy feeling. I love it. So I'm hoping that will help me today as we get settled in here. Well, I'm going to drop it. I need a better grip. That'd be fun. Spill milk on my lap on live in front of everybody. Let's not do that, shall we? Okay. I've also brought out my trusty keyboard. This is, well, it was expensive, I won't lie, but it wasn't as expensive as it could have been because it's broken. It's supposed to light up. All of these keys, there are light bulbs underneath. They don't light up. They never did. In the description, when I bought it, it said that it was defective, but it didn't say why. And I'm like, as long as it has all the keys, I'm fine. It's okay. So I wasn't that disappointed that it didn't light up, but eventually I'd love to save up for a Bluetooth one that doesn't have this cord attached, so I can just take it with me. I want something smaller too. This is great for, sitting in my lap, but sometimes you just want something a little more compact. I don't know. Plus, I don't need all of these numbers and things on the side. This is more of like, a business keyboard, if you could call it that. I don't need a business keyboard. I need a creative keyboard. So those are some pipe dreams I've got going on. But for now, we'll make do with what we have and be thankful we have them. It makes, let me open my Word document so you can hear it. It makes the most wonderful clacky noise. Isn't that so good? Hopefully you can hear that. Let me know. Could you hear that? In the comments, let me know. I love hearing someone type. I find it really relaxing. I'm sort of an ASMR fan as well. I love certain tappy noises and like whispers. I just find it super relaxing. And on nights where I can't sleep, which is very rare, I usually sleep just fine, I will pull up an ASMR YouTuber and just go to town listening to people tapping away or typing on their keyboards. Oh, it's just so relaxing. And I can give ASMR recommendations if you need any creators to listen to. I think one of my favorites, her handle is called Goodnight Moon, like the book, but she has this series called the Babelbrook series, where she basically tells a story of this fantastical world and dresses up and does her makeup and plays these different characters in this fantastical world that she's made up, but all in ASMR. So the first episode, if you want to call it that, you go to this inn during a rainstorm, and when you walk inside, there's a crackling fire and baking bread, and it's so ambiance and cool. So if you like that kind of thing, Good Night Moon is a good one to go through and watch some ASMR. You know, before I settle in with my keyboard, I'm going to pull my blanket on. This guy, isn't it cool? Look how pretty. When I went to Vintage Market Days of Dayton and Cincinnati, which I did vlog, that should be up in a couple weeks, I found this at, what was her name? Home with Ashley, I think, or something to that effect. She had a bunch of these, but because I went on the last day and it was kind of like everybody was sort of trying to get rid of their wares, she gave it to me for half off. So it was originally $10, but she gave it to me for $5. The colors, can we just have a moment for the colors? If you saw my entire loft right now, you'd know how Cassie this blanket is. So I'm gonna wear that while we get settled in. And also, I'm probably going to have an interruption at some point. My dinner is en route, aka my dad. So he may jump in just to hand me my food. So ignore that if that happens. Okay. Are we feeling ready to settle into our first 20-minute sprint? Let me know. Are you wanting to jump right in? Do you have questions you'd like to ask or topics you'd like to chat about before we do anything? Let me know in the comments. I'll wait. I'll make sure my story went through as you respond. Just to make sure. Oh, only one person has seen it. That's not good. Everyone's probably off Instagram getting their dinner or something. Oh, before we jump in, I wanted to mention, if you don't follow me on Instagram, you really should, because that's the first place I update you, and it's the first place I ask you questions. Hold on, I'm gonna see if I can do one of these. Does that look okay? Hold on. Let me see. No, that's too bright. I was trying to... No, but that's worse. I don't know. Does it correct itself if I think that makes me look too dark, doesn't it? Sorry, I'm going to stop fussing around now. If you don't follow me on Instagram, that's where I post a lot of my book recommendations, things that I'm reading, things that I've read and loved. And on, what was it, Tuesday? Monday? I posted about a book that's coming out by my Ohio author friend, Lori Langdon. She has made this cool Never After series with Disney. It's just so cool that she's working with Disney. And the stories involve the villains we know and loathe, but before they became villains, it's kind of like their origin stories, how they became the people we know in the classic Disney movies. I even did a video called I Read This Book So You Don't Have To, of Vanessa, her origin story, her Never After story. I have not turned pages so fast in my life trying to figure out what happened by the end. It was so harrowing, but it was so good. Very creative. Lori does a great job. And not only is she a talented author that I would just, promote anyway because she's so talented, but I also love that she's an Ohioan. She's a local, and I've got to give her props for that. But all that to say, there's a new book coming out about Gaston's origin story. I'm so excited. Gaston is probably one of my most hated villains, and Lori does an incredible job at getting you to like the villain because it's before they are evil, so they are kind of likable. You have to have someone to root for if you're going to pick up the book. So I can't wait for that to come out. It comes out around December, I think. But I posted about that if you want to check it out on Instagram. Nicole says, I can't wait for Gaston. I know, right? Oh, I really want to know how his origin story starts out. That just would be so cool. Yeah, basically those are my top favorite classic Disney stories. The Little Mermaid is my favorite. You cannot change my mind. Ariel is the best princess. If you have a favorite Disney princess, let me know in the comments. I'm curious who everyone roots for. But I think that's why I wanted to read Vanessa so badly, because that's part of my favorite Disney movie. And then Beauty and the Beast is probably my second favorite. I mean, Belle's Library. I feel like we can all get on board with that. I'd trade in the Beast and just go for the library, if I'm being honest with you. And anybody who, I see this online, maybe nobody has this opinion but the internet, but people are really ragging on Beast's human form. Nobody likes it. I think that's sad. I thought he was kind of cute. Maybe it's the long hair, because, am I remembering right? I think every other Disney prince has short hair. He's the only one with long hair, but he kind of gives, like, in a good way, not a bad way, like Tamlin vibes. For anybody who's read ACOTAR, he sort of looks like how I pictured Tamlin. And Tamlin's supposed to be pretty cute, so I don't know what everybody's problem is, but I thought Beast in his human form was really cute. Although, what was his name supposed to be? I can never remember. He had a human name. Adam, maybe? I think it was Adam. Anyway, I'm just curious what people's opinions are. All right. I'm going to jump in here, starting the first sprint. But before I do, I have one request of you. If you are any good at this, I'm writing a book that involves a lot of Egyptian mythology. It takes place in the 1930s, and it has characters who are archaeologists. The movie The Mummy was a great inspiration for the setting. But the problem is, I need to know how people got permission to be not to be archaeologists, but to go pick tombs. Like, how did they pick what tombs to go to? Because there's more than one archaeologist in that time frame. You know, they usually were part of a college. Like, they were kind of staffed by these big colleges, and they all had to sort of fight over the best locations. But how did that happen? I need to know, and I cannot research that answer. I don't know how to find it. I'm going through this book called Amelia Peabody's Egypt, edited by Elizabeth Peters and Kristen Whitbread. Elizabeth Peters has an incredible Egypt 1900s Victorian time period book series. So good, chef's kiss. Oh my word, if you love The Mummy, you will love that book, that series. But this is kind of her info dump of facts about that time period, but it doesn't mention that as far as I'm aware. So if any of you have any cool ways of finding that answer out, I would be so appreciative. It's important for the book. Okay. Jumping right in to our first sprint. We're going to do 20 minutes, and then we'll take a break, we'll stretch, and we'll chat. If you have any questions you'd like to ask me, save them for the first break. All right. Let me type in first sprint. A vintage minimalist. Hi, thanks for joining. We were just about to start our first, my writing sprint. You are welcome to do whatever you want. This is a really cool format where I'm participating in NaNoWriMo, which is National Novel Writing Month. I'm trying to talk too fast. Always my problem. Where I'm going to be working on some writing projects, but you are welcome to do whatever creative endeavor you'd like, whether it's making dinner for your family, doing a mundane task like laundry, or doing a creative craft like knitting or sewing or drawing in an adult coloring book. Any and all of those are perfectly fine to do, but we're going to start our first 20-minute sprint and then we'll take a break afterwards. So let's start the timer. 20 minutes, starting now. And if you have any questions for me, any of you, save them for the first break. Good luck. Mm-mm. Ignore that. That was me. Sorry if I jump scared any of you. All right, our first 20-minute sprint is done. I'm going to give you guys time to finish up what you were doing. I am one paragraph away from being done, so with this section. So give me a second. I'm going to go a little bit over our time just to try to finish this because I don't want to disengage my brain while in the middle of a sentence. Okay, done with that paragraph. Sorry. I just had to finish that up before I completely disengaged. All right, how are we doing? How was the first sprint? Are we feeling good? Feeling productive? Was it too short? Because it felt too short to me. I think 20 minutes is the perfect amount of time for my brain to sink into what I'm doing because I seem to just be hitting my stride by the 20-minute mark. I don't know if that's just me or if any of you feel the same way. Katerinsky says, I wrote some and cooked some. Nice. What are you writing, if I may ask? You don't have to share if you don't feel comfortable, but I'd love to know if you are willing to share. Let me go back up because I think I missed a few comments. Nicole confirmed that Adam is the beast's name in his human form. I'm so glad I've got that confirmed because that would have bugged me if I was wrong. And then Deb said for her project for this, she's going to be picking either bridal or resort outfits to design. That's so cool. I really marvel at how people's brains work because mine doesn't do that. I remember when I was in school and I was young and I sketched all the time. I wanted to be a fashion designer because in movies it looks so glamorous and so easy. You just whip up a dress and then wow, it's done by the end of the movie. It's like magic. Only they don't show that a dozen seamstresses worked to make that dress perfection. But it always did sound fun. Katerinsky said she's writing a fantasy book, something I've thought about for years and wanted to do for myself. Good for you! I'm so proud of you. That's awesome. A fantasy book is nothing to sniff at. That's great. And I feel like sometimes you just have to write something for yourself. Even if it never makes it to shelves, getting it out of your head and onto a document, that just feels so satisfying and rewarding all on its own. I mean, yesterday I started writing I don't even know what to call it because it's not a book. It'll never go on shelves. It'll never be published, but it was just an idea I had in my head and I needed to get it out. It didn't fit anywhere in any books that I currently have or could work on. It just was its own thing, like this daydream that just kept repeating in my head. So I wrote it just because I needed to get it out. I read a quote once and I don't remember the context of it, but I think it had to do with creativity. And it was very simple. All it said was, "The crazy wants out." And I wish I could remember what it was from, if it was from a movie or something, but it just made so much sense. The crazy wants out. The ideas need to be out of your head and onto some kind of paper or document or something. I think there's a lot of truth to that. So good for you for writing a fantasy book. That's incredible. I would love to know how you're doing throughout the session because that's awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. As someone who has written a fantasy book, a fantasy series, I know the the involvement it takes to write something like that. So kudos to you, girl. Man, even with this smaller cup, my tea keeps getting cold. I don't know how to fix that. Probably because I'm talking a lot and forget about it. Rough drafts are fine, girl. That's how it starts. You can't put yourself through the ringer for not writing a perfect book right off the bat. Rough drafts are where it's at. For me, I don't know if this helps you at all, because everybody is different. Everybody's brain works different. But for me, I write the scenes that are the most clear. Even if they get altered or adjusted later, I have them out. So I don't write in order. A lot of people will write from chapter 1 all the way to the end. My brain, no, I can't do that. I have to write the scenes that I can't stop thinking about. So for me, when I had a job that had a super long commute, I would play music in the car, as you do, and I would daydream, which sounds very dangerous, but I promise it's not. It's just like part of your brain is checked out, but the rest of it is focused on the road. I think it has to do with being ADD. I think that's a skill we have. You can let me know if I'm not alone, but I would daydream on my long commutes. And I would be able to plot out these scenes in my head so that by the time I got to work, I worked in a daycare at the time, I could either get there a little bit early and jot down everything on my phone or in a notebook, which I carried in my purse, or during nap time, I would skeeve off the work that I was supposed to be doing and jot down the scenes. I can't tell you how much of my night sky project was written during nap times at my daycare job. So, good luck with your rough draft. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. It's going to be great. And it starts there. Has to start somewhere. But what's really rewarding is when it starts fleshing out and you can feel all the pieces of the puzzle coming together. It's so exciting. Question. Any writers who are in the chat, are you a plotter or a pantser? Not to be confused with depantsing. That is not what we're talking about. A plotter is someone who plots everything. They have like an outline of what their story is going to be, and they stick to that outline and write from there. A pantser, which is what I am, goes by the seat of our pants. We don't have, maybe that's where it comes from, that phrase, but we have no plan. We feel our way through the book. And although it makes it a little more complicated, I think we get a lot more believability out of the scenes that we write because we're writing flying on a feeling as opposed to this detached plotting thing. I don't know. I think people's brains work differently. Pantsing works for me. Plotting would never. But I also know people who plot and they're excellent at it. So I think it's just cool how people write differently, but it still works. But with my Chai project, which is my small town romance novel, I definitely pantsered my way through that. I had a rough plot. I knew what the catalyst was that needed to happen to jumpstart the story. I knew what the main character's disbelief, her struggle was going to be, and I knew how I wanted it to end. Apart from that, I had basically nothing, just a few points here and there. And I felt my way through that. That is probably the most, even though I feel my way through all my stories, that one was the most emotive. I mean, I would feel this high emotion and then I would write about it, but put it in my character's perspective or in a injected into a scene that needed a little more life added to it. I read a piece of advice, I think it was a quote on Pinterest, where it said, write when you're feeling something, because that's when you get the most genuine writing out of yourself, the most believability. When you're feeling something, whether you're, heartbroken or really happy or angry at something or feeling betrayed or hurt, in those big emotion moments, sit in it and write. Even if you tweak it later, even if it's messy, you get the feeling onto the page and it becomes really believable because that's exactly what you're feeling. You're not trying to reach for this abstract feeling you sort of remember. I felt like that was a really good piece of advice. Katarinsky says, I don't know. I feel like I have the basic idea, but I keep reliving it and it changes a lot. That's normal. Don't feel bad about that. That's just how creativity works. It's sort of an ebb and flow, kind of like an ocean. Katie. Hello, Katie. Nice to see you. Glad you were able to make it. Katie says, I'm a mix of both. I start with a plan, but then I start writing and go with the flow. I think there's often a mix in how we write because I'm a pantser through and through, but I do have the capability to plot a bit. I just don't stick to it. I don't have this okay, here's my plot. I have it all planned out before I've written a word. I'm not that kind of plotter, but I do have this sort of fuzzy map in my head that keeps me on track. So I think there can often be a mix of the two. There's nothing wrong with that. Everyone's brains work differently and magically, and I think that's awesome. Katie, are you writing something during this session? If so, and you'd like to share, what are you writing? I'm very curious. I keep hitting that. I'm sorry for anybody I jump scared during the session because I did that during the dead quiet. I scared myself. I need to slow down on the tea. I'll drink it all before we're done. I'm currently, for an update for anybody who wants to know, did I mention before, I'm writing a story that has to do with Egyptian mythology. It takes place in the 1930s. The Mummy, the movie The Mummy, was a huge inspiration for the setting. And I wrote quite a lot of it after my college years. So I was around 19, 20, 21, 22, something around there. It sounds very young. It sounds very inexperienced. A lot of it, I'm just like, oh, I see what you were trying to do there, but cringe. That's kind of where it's hard to, anyway, I'm trying to rewrite it better. And I hate it. I hate this process so much. I almost wish I could just scrap it and start again, but I did so much work and I think there's merit. It's just slow and agonizing. It's like pulling teeth trying to get this, doing this sentence edit by edit. No, rewind that. This edit sentence by sentence. Do you see how scrambled my brain is right now? Oh, this story. But I think it's good. I think it's really cute. It has a really cool brother-sister relationship. I grew up always wanting a big brother, which I think is where this one character came from, because he is a big brother. The siblings are big brother, little sister. And I just love their dynamic. It's so cute. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil anything, but I think it's going to be a really cute story. I'm sort of rediscovering what the characters are like, because I sort of forgot. They were maybe 40 to 50% fleshed out. But now that I'm older and have a little more life experience under my belt, I can take those sort of flat-ish characters and breathe more believability into them. So, for example, what can I give you an example of that won't be spoilery? There's a character in here that I really love, and I wanted him to be this bad boy with a heart of gold. I wanted his bad boy exterior to either be a facade or stem from a troubled past, like grief, loss. I wanted him to be this like grumpy, very grumpy, surly bad boy. And as I was rethinking his character with fresh perspective, fresh eyes, older, more experience, I realized that I want him to be a bad boy, but it's a facade. It's like a protective shield he puts up, especially for the main love interest of his. I kind of want him to keep her at a distance. His bad boy facade is to keep her away from him. He likes her, and despite him knowing better than to pursue her, he kind of does. And then he's like, no, I'm not good enough. I can't do this. Like, I shouldn't do this. She doesn't deserve me. She deserves better. I'm going to make her life miserable and push her away. I'm thinking, like, doesn't that sound a lot more grown up? Not just the flat, one-dimensional, I'm a bad boy because I have grief in my family. No, it's actually because it's a protective mechanism. It's a survival technique. I just think that's so much yummier. So anyway, I feel like that's not too much of a spoiler. And as always, I reserve the right to change my mind. This book is going to go through a lot of edits, so this may not stick. Let's see. Katie says, I'm writing a story about a modern-day witch who lives in a small New England town and has to help a werewolf who is stuck as a wolf with some evil witches. Ooh, sounds all sorts of spooky. Perfect for this time of year. Even though Halloween's over, there's still kind of a spooky vibe, I love, let me see, the book that I've read most recently, that had a witchy story that I absolutely loved. I'm very on the fence about witches because I think it can either be written really well or it can be written in a way that makes me uncomfy. I have a book boundary that I've mentioned quite a lot. Anything to do with the occult, I'm instantly out. That is not a thing I let into my soul. But if it's like from a fantastical perspective, like dark magic in the Harry Potter world, that's fine. No issues, no uncomfy feelings. But the witchy book that I found that was modern day had magic, had witches, although it never outright said the word witch, I don't think, and gave me no uncomfy feelings, was called The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic. Oh my goodness. If you guys haven't read that book, please, 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 please go out and buy it. it was so good. I wish I could experience rereading it again. I wish I could reread it and experience it again for the first time because, oh, it was just so cute. It had high stakes, but a cozy small town setting. It had a love interest that was like loads of delicious tension. It had, um, like I said, high stakes. It dealt with grief in a really beautiful way that wasn't overbearing, but definitely pivotal to the story. Oh, it was so good. So if you want a witchy kind of book and you also sort of balance that tightrope between what you're comfortable with and what you're not, what was that? So I don't know what that was. Something fell down. Back. Oh well. I didn't hear any glass breaking, so I think we're good. The unfortunate side effects of heartbreak and magic. Definite suggestion. I think that's great. But I'm very curious, is this like a fairy tale retelling? I don't know why my brain malfunctioned. I couldn't think of the term. Is because you say modern day and it has to do with a werewolf, is there any fairy tale retelling kind of vibes? Just curious. No worries if not. But I love that it takes place in New England. Oh, that is a great setting. Fun. Well, I'm glad you shared your project. Thank you so much for that. That sounds super exciting. And if any of you have any questions, you're welcome to ask them now. Otherwise, I think I'm going to pour myself some more tea and settle into the next brain malfunctioning again. Clearly need more tea. Writing session. And again, if you're not doing writing, totally okay. You can do whatever you feel like you need to do. Make dinner. Have you stretched yet? I'm saying that because I am the mom of my friend group. And I'm also the fixer, and I like to make sure everybody's okay. So if you haven't stretched yet, this is your reminder. I'm doing it too. Because I tend to get a very stiff neck from sitting at my computer. And for anybody jumping on, I must apologize for my appearance. This is work attire. I had casual clothes. I have messy hair because when you're working at when you're working retail, it's hard work, more than you'd think. I get a cardio workout every day, which is good, but also oh, I love that tea. It's so good. It's literally like hot chocolate in tea form. Oh, I have linked it in the description box if you guys want to grab some for yourself. So good. Does taste better with milk. I will say you have to add milk to it to make it more rich and robust. Otherwise, it's just not the same. I suggest that with pretty much any tea I drink. However, I don't drink flowery tea except for lavender. I do drink lavender tea, and that does taste fine with milk. But if you drink anything that's super floral, I can't with any confidence tell you that adding milk will be good because I don't really drink florally teas. Okay, I think if everyone's ready, we'll settle back in for our second writing session. Last minute. Anybody have any questions, topics you'd like to discuss? Let me see. What movies have I been watching lately? Oh, I've been watching Friends. I know I said that in a very sad voice, but it's because, have any of you heard? I know I mentioned it in my vlog, but in case anybody hasn't seen it yet, the guy who played Chandler Bing passed away. It was very sad. I'm sure all of you know by now, Friends is my comfort show. That is something I put on all the time. I've rewatched it. I don't even know. I've lost count. I used to keep track of how many times I'd watched it through, and now it's a blur. I don't know. Countless. And it's the show I put on when I'm cleaning, when I need a pick-me-up, when I just need something comforting. That's the show I pick. And Matthew Perry is no longer part of the gang. I'm so sad. He apparently had an incredible life. I really need to read his book. I work with somebody who's read it and said it was incredible. So that's something I want to pick up in audiobook form, I think, because, he reads it. And I would love to hear it read in his voice. I think that'd be wonderful. But I've been watching that lately. It's not a very fall show, except the Thanksgiving episodes, which I definitely plan on watching on Thanksgiving. I didn't do that last year, and I'd like to do that this year, or at least watch them around the time of Thanksgiving, even if I don't have time on Thanksgiving Day. But that's kind of what I've been watching lately. Oh, and Miss Fisher's Murder Mysteries. I feel like not a lot of people have heard of that. I think it was available on Acorn at some point. I don't have Acorn, but I noticed that it was available there at one point. It takes place in the Roaring 20s. It takes place in Australia, so all the Australian accents. And a lot of the accents are posh enough to where they almost sound British. Almost. Not quite, but kind of close. So if you love British voices and you like aesthetic vibes that are full of time period accuracy, chef's kiss, it's incredible. I just love it for the vibes, honestly. Like, the mysteries are cool, but the vibes, I want to live in Miss Fisher's house. I want to be part of her household staff. Oh my word. And you talk about sweet, sweet tension between love interests. Her and Jack, he is, I forget what his real title is, but he's a police officer. He's like the chief of police. And Detective Inspector. That's his name, I think. He and her always go head to head because he's a real detective. She is a private detective and a woman, no less, taking place in the 20s. Deb, if you're still watching, I would love to hear your thoughts if you've ever watched the show or if you plan on watching the show, how accurate the clothing is. I don't know if the 20s are your area of expertise, but that would be fascinating to know if they used real inspiration or real pieces from the 20s. It's hard to tell because everything looks so glamorous, but it's just I don't even care if it's real. It's so pretty. The dresses that she wears, the parties, the glamour, the glitz, it's just so good. So that's also what I've been watching this fall, which again isn't very fall, but it just has the vibes that I've been needing. Katie says, thanks. It was an idea her friend and her had when they passed a spooky farm stand. Ooh, I love hearing how books start out. What inspiration made you think of them? The house looked like a witch could live there. I'm more of a Harry Potter vibe than a cult vibe. Thank you. I'm so relieved. Whew. Now I know I can read your book whenever it comes out, if it ever comes out. Phew. Okay, good. I can get on board with that. Love that. Yay! That sounds so good. I love that. I love anything to do with the creepy house. If you've read The Only One Left, that has a spooky house. What's the one? The Inheritance Games has a big spooky house. I mean, give me a mansion with hidden passageways and secrets. I'm a happy girl. So that sounds fantastic. Okay, we've been chatting a while, so I'm going to start our second writing sprint. Anybody who wants to write can join in. If you're working on something else, grab your things, grab a refill, make sure to stretch real quick, grab a blanket if you're chilly. Let's get cozy and do another 20-minute sprint starting now. Ooh, I can smell my candle. That smells good. It's like right here, so it's wafting toward me. Okay. Thank you. All right, that's the end of our second writing sprint or second creative sprint. I didn't do as much as I wanted. I started a new chapter, which was good. I added some detail, tried to flesh out what I had written, but oof, cringe central. Okay. While all of you start disengaging from your various projects here, I'm going to heat up my dinner because my dinner delivery person, aka my dad, has arrived and brought this to me. For anybody wondering, it's breakfast for dinner. My favorite. Oh, you can't see. How's that? Eggs, bacon, and hash browns. Full good, but it's not as warm as I'd like it to be. So give me a second. I'm going to heat this up, and I'll be back. So if you guys want to go grab yourself something to eat, something to drink, I'll be back in 2 minutes, 3 minutes tops. And if anybody on chat asks where I've gone, help them out and answer. She went eating her dinner. while I'm here and up, I'm going to heat up my tea. I realized I needed a fork. Very important in the eating process. It's a lot easier to get out of this little corner than it is to get into it. All right. How was your writing sprint? Everybody feel like they did a good job? Or creative sprint, rather. Sorry, I keep saying it the other way. Feel free to ask me questions or ask a topical conversation starter if you want to, while I start on my dinner. What movies have you been watching in the autumn? Actually, follow-up question. What movie makes you feel that quintessential autumn vibe? Because I'm always looking for suggestions. I've heard that a good one is When Harry Met Sally, which I don't think I've ever seen, but I've heard about it a lot this year. I have seen You've Got Mail, which is another one people suggest a lot. Both have Meg Ryan, funnily enough. What else? I mean, any Hallmark movie, let's be honest, that takes place in the autumn season. I know Hallmark is cheesy, but it's so fun. Sometimes you just need a little bit of cheese in your life. Like in The Holiday, when Iris says, I like corny. I'm looking for corny in my life. Such a good line. That, for anybody wondering, is one of my favorite Christmas movies. The Holiday. Oh, so good. That's one of my top 5 favorites that I have to rewatch every holiday. Emma says, Jane Austen movies are always my favorite go-to for fall. A particular favorite is the 1940s version of Pride and Prejudice. Ooh, I don't know if I've ever watched that version. My favorite is the 2005 with Keira Knightley. I feel like her and whatever his name is who played Darcy, their tension and connection on screen is just so yummy. I love the scenic, like the big shots where she's on a cliff edge, or they their cart broke down and they're in that woodsy area. Just so pretty. But I've heard that there are 2 different parties. Some people love the new Pride and Prejudice, and other people are diehards for the old ones. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, is the 1940s version the one that they did like a series where they went into every detail of the book and redid it in film form? Is that the version I'm thinking of? Does it have really cool settings and costumes and things? I'll bet you it does if it's from the 1940s. They didn't do things by halves. Okay, unpopular opinion. Restaurants cannot do scrambled eggs right. They just can't. I don't know if I got spoiled because my grandma and my mom make the best scrambled eggs in the universe, and therefore my taste in scrambled eggs is just higher. But I've really struggled to find a restaurant that makes them well. This restaurant does. This one, if you're local, is called Lincoln Square. It's this little hole-in-the-wall place. You don't really think about it until you know it's there. And it doesn't look like anything grand. Like, if I didn't know how good the food was, I'd walk in and think, okay, this is going to be a very below average meal. It's not like cute vibes inside. It's not even like a diner. It's just this average restaurant. But oh my word, they do the food so well. And the scrambled eggs are top notch. Best I've had ever from a restaurant. Oh, apparently the 1940s version, according to Emma, has Greer Garson and Laurence Olivier. Is that how you say his name? Her name? I don't know. I've heard the name before, but I don't actually know who it is. Oh, dear. You can all laugh. It's fine. I laugh at myself all the time. Life's more fun that way. Also, I would not normally eat on stream. I rarely eat on video anyway, but I'm starving. And this food smells incredible, so sorry about that. If you guys don't like this stuff, oh, sorry. At least it's hidden behind my computer mostly. Let's see. What else? Ooh, I know a movie that gives me fall vibes, even though it really shouldn't. I think that's funny. I think for a lot of people, me included, fall vibes just translates as cozy. Either cozy or nostalgic, or like I know some people, they watched a very non-autumn movie during a really good autumn year, and therefore now that is their autumn movie of choice, even though it has nothing to do with autumn itself. Yes, he was a very famous English actor. Oh, yeah, I figured. I had a feeling because I knew the name. Oh, I feel very embarrassed. Well, that's on record for the end of days. I'm sure you're all very glad you were here for that. Oh, man. Okay, well, back to my movie. Hi, Taco! Thanks for coming. We are on a break from our second writing sprint. Thank you for joining. So glad you could make it. I'm on a dinner break. My dinner got delivered by my father. So I'm scarfing this down while we have a chat. I was just saying I normally don't eat on lives or on video really, but I'm starving and this smells too good to wait. What are you working on today, Taco? You can do that while I tell everybody one of my favorite autumn movies to watch. Ugh, this video has so many ad breaks. Oh well, at least we're chatting and not writing. It doesn't really break the immersion. One of my favorite movies to watch, and it's a kind of a new favorite, is called Howl's Moving Castle. I'm sure many of you have heard of it. I had never heard of it. I'm not a big like Studio Ghibli fan. I really didn't even know what it was. Part of the problem is that I watched Spirited Away at my grandma's house on her big square TV, the one with knobs and everything. Like, I vividly remember this. They had a TV and it played and it creeped me the heck out. All those like little ghosties and spirits. I couldn't understand what the story was. I still don't know. I've never watched it, but it kind of creeped me out. And once I found out that Studio Ghibli made that, I just didn't want to watch any other Studio Ghibli videos because I figured they just weren't my vibe. But then I don't even remember how I watched it. Maybe I rented it through my iTunes or something. But it just sounded cute. It looked cute. I had heard someone say, this is so cozy. So I watched it. I love it. It is so cool. And also, can we please talk about how incredible Christian Bale's voice acting is? Like, Christian Bale is incredible anyway, but his voice with young him, oh, so good. Oh my word. I was enamored after I learned that. Taco says, what's for dinner? And I'm crafting envelopes. Ooh. Okay, wait. Crafting envelopes. I have questions. Do you make cards? Are you one of those awesome crafty people who can make cards through their like Cricut machine and stuff? Because if you're making envelopes for those, that sounds really fun. And for dinner, I'm having breakfast. Breakfast for dinner. It's eggs, bacon, and hash browns. Oh, I could eat it for days. I can have breakfast for every meal and be completely content. This is from a restaurant called Lincoln Square. It's local. It's not a chain or anything, I don't think. But they make the best food. It is the most underwhelming facade. Like, you look at it and you're like, this is going to be below average food. No. It is incredible. Everyone I've taken there has sung its praises for how good the food is. Just goes to show, don't judge a book by the cover. Emma says, that's okay, girl. Hardly anybody knows actors from the 1940s anymore. Thank you. Thank you. That makes me feel a lot better. I feel like one of those old souls who knows the names of actors who are already dead better than the live ones. I don't know why that tickled me so much, but that was great. Thank you, Emma, for that laugh. Woo. That's funny. No, I feel like there's something to be said about that, you know? Like, I think I know the names of passed on singers than I do singers that are current. Especially if you get me talking about old jazz. Like, ooh, those people. I love old jazz. I was raised on the good ones. But anyway, Howl's Moving Castle. I haven't watched it yet. I've kind of been waiting because I have a friend or two who haven't seen it. And there are very few movies they haven't seen. So I'm like trying to wait to watch it with them, but I don't know if it's going to happen. And I'm so in the mood to watch it. So I might have to watch it anyway, just without them. It's a good enough movie. I could see it multiple times. Katarinsky says, I love breakfast for dinner. I love breakfast. Oh, me too. Me too. So yum. Katie says, I love that movie. Yes, see, it's such a good one. If you haven't seen Howl's Moving Castle, strangest name, kind of a strange movie, I'm not going to lie, but it's just so good. I can't explain it. It just is. Taco says, yes, I make cards. Handmade. No Cricut. Your Cricut is in Ohio. Are you not in Ohio right now? Did it get left behind? I have a Cricut machine, and it's old, and I have no idea how to use it. I also have no materials either. So it's just sitting there. My work gave it to me so I could kind of figure out how to work it, and I haven't even spent any time trying to figure it out. But I'd like to at some point because my friend Nicole, who you all know, she is excellent at her Cricut machine, but hers is a lot more updated. and she has all the materials. So she has made some beautiful things, not just cards, but oh my goodness, everything. And I was hoping she'd be able to help me with this one, but this is so old, it's not even remotely like hers, so she can't help me. I'm gonna have to look up some tutorials. Taco, you're in South Carolina? That's one of my favorite places to vacation. Okay, Hilton Head, South Carolina. If you haven't been there, everybody, you've got to go. It's so cute. They have the cutest little seaside towns. They have harbors. They have this huge green Triton Poseidon statue thing that we always make a tradition to pose at every time we go. For no other reason than we did it once as children, and therefore it is now a tradition. But it's just got the cutest places to shop, got a lighthouse. Oh, it's so fun. I'm jealous because it's probably really warm there. Yeah, Taco says, yes, it's been very warm. I love it. Oh, I'm so jealous. Although today wasn't bad. Today was really pretty. It actually felt kind of warm for a fall day, so I'm not complaining. Katarinsky says, I don't have a favorite fall movie, but the Halloween party episode of Hercule Poirot with David, oh, I'm going to butcher this, Suchet. I watch every year around this time. Ooh. Wait a minute. Is that the one that just came out? Isn't there like a Venice something? Halloween something? Am I thinking of the same movie? Because there's a new one with Hercule Poirot, which I butcher every time I try to say it. It's the one that has like the seance, which I don't feel very good about watching. I don't think I'm going to watch it. But they made Death on the Nile, which was really good. And then, what was the first one? There was another one. Oh, Murder on the Orient Express. Those movies were great. I think murder mysteries can feel very cozy, which sounds like the biggest oxymoron, but I can't explain it. I love a good whodunit. That's probably why I love Murder, She Wrote, because that, to me, it's like on the Maine coast. It's got murders, but they're not grisly. They're like cozy small town vibes, and you always have to figure out who did it, and it's just cozy murders. I don't know how else to say it. Those are really like for the autumn season. But yeah, let me know what movie that is. Because if it's a movie that's already been made, like years ago, maybe I'm just not aware that it exists. I only know the one with the actor who played in Harry Potter, that really annoying professor that was full of himself, Lockhart, Gilderoy Lockhart. He's the one that plays Hercule, and those are the only movies with Hercule Poirot that I know. Oh, but did any of you watch Knives Out and Glass Onion? Those were so good. I will say they have some language, so just beware of that. But that was very much an Agatha Christie feeling whodunit on a grand scale. Those were fun. I really, after watching Knives Out, I was so impressed. I thought it was a standalone. It was so good they made a second one. And I hope they make more, because those were so fun. I was really concerned that Glass Onion wasn't going to be as impressive. It was. It just didn't take place in a mansion. It took place in, well, a mansion of a very different kind, like a resort almost. Katie said, I saw Glass Onion. It was good. Yes, it was so good. Oh my goodness. I really wondered what the twist would be, because in the first movie with Knives Out, they tell you the killer right away, like within the first 20 minutes, if not that. And I sat there in the theater thinking, it has nowhere to go from here. It's told us what happened. I don't understand. And it was very cut and dry. There was no questioning who was at fault until later, when there's a huge twist and you're like, what? Mind blown. So clever and good. I was hoping Glass Onion would have something similar, and it did. It kind of did the same format where it tells you what you think you know, and you're like, oh, there can be no other answer. This is cut and dry. This is what happened. Where does it have to go from here? And then it does the whole twist thing again. I loved it. Oh, okay. So the new ones with Poirot is played by Kenneth Branagh. I am so bad at names. Okay, so there's a totally different actor who plays Hercule Poirot that Katerinsky says is ultimately the quintessential guy for her. Well, the guy who plays Poirot anyway. Okay, I'll have to look him up. I've not heard of him. I really didn't know that there were other Agatha Christie movies before the new ones. But I think there are some BBC ones that are sort of recent, not within the last few years recent, but maybe within the last 10 years. And those always looked good. Emma says, yes, those are amazing. Right? So good. The storytelling is on point, which is very on theme with today, with what we're doing. Okay, so I think I'm going to start another 20-minute sprint. Let me know in the comments if you would like one more sprint or 2 more sprints. I'm good with either one, but you let me know which one. You can let me know as we start. I'm going to start the timer for a 20-minute sprint, and then we'll take another break and we can decide if we do one more or leave it at that. Okay? Everybody ready? Get cozy, get fed and watered, as Dumbledore would say. And let's get started. Starting now. All right, that's the timer for our third writing sprint. How did we do? Again, I felt like I was just getting into it. I also went on a little bit of a tangent, a research tangent. Part of this scene in chapter 2 takes place in Cambridge University, which I've never been to, only seen it in photos, and I'm trying to do it justice. Of course, the setting is in the 1930s, so any pictures that I would find of present day wouldn't necessarily be what was true in the 30s. So there is room for creativity, but I was just trying to look up a photo of the headmaster's office. That's all I wanted, because I'm describing a headmaster's office and I couldn't find a thing. The only thing that came up was Dumbledore's office. Not even kidding you. I did not write Harry Potter. I did not write Dumbledore. I specifically said Cambridge University headmaster's office interior pictures. Googled that and Dumbledore's office came up. So what am I supposed to do? Oh, it's crazy. So anyway, I went on a little bit of a research tangent there, but got back on track and then the timer went off. Doesn't that figure? Katie says, I feel like I got more done this time. Feeling good. That's awesome. I'm glad. I think the more we do this, the more our brains get better at focusing faster. I think the first sprint is always the hardest for me to sink into a rhythm, to get into the zone. And then as we keep going, it just seems to get easier. But I also think doing this as a group helps too. In my opinion, creativity feeds creativity. So the fact that we're all doing something, creative, we're all talking about fun, creative things, it just feeds the inspiration somehow, which I think is cool. Emma says, Cass, I don't have an Instagram account. Is there a way to message you on Pinterest? I don't think so. I've never found a way to private message on Pinterest. And honestly, I'm never on it as a business. I'm just on it to research things. So that probably wouldn't help you. Let's see. I mean, you can always leave a comment on YouTube videos, but that's public if you're wanting something more private. I will say Instagram does have the capability of having your account be private. So if it was something you didn't want to even use other than to, maybe post a photo for yourself or check other people's Instagrams, it's a very easy thing to do. If you're not open to that, totally understand. I'm not sure what a good alternative would be. I'll have to think about that. If it's something that doesn't necessarily have to be privatized, you're more than welcome to just ask. You can ask right now or ask in a comment on a YouTube video. I'm pretty open about most things, so you're more than welcome to ask anything at any time. But I'm sorry that that's a hindrance for you. I wish I had another alternative. I don't even have a business Facebook either, so that wouldn't help you. I'll have to think about that. But no, I don't think Pinterest allows you to have private messaging. Not that I'm aware, anyway. Let's see. Oh, I know what I was going to do. I was going to pour myself some more tea and show you. No, things are dropping. Story of my life. Do not spill my precious hash browns that I'm saving for later. Cannot. Those are too good to waste. I was going to show you this really cool thing I got from work yesterday. Some of the ladies sorting through our inventory found it. Someone donated it. And it's too broken and dilapidated to really sell. So they were like, do you know anybody who collects these? And I'm like, yes, I do. And they're like, do you want it? And I said, yes, I do. Let me pour this tea here and then I will show you what it is. It's this guy. I don't know. It's black, so it's not going to show up very well, is it? That going to show? Here, hold on. Let me do. Ooh, hair got caught on my plant. Okay, I'm going to do this. Does that show up a little better? What do you think it is? Hello, Deb. Shopping took forever. Glad you're back. Well, I asked you a question, but you might not have been here. I'll repeat it for you now. I was talking about Miss Fisher's murder mysteries and whether or not the fashion was accurate or not, or if they took a lot of creative liberties. Either way, I love the fashion in that TV show. It's beautiful. It takes place in the Roaring 20s in Australia. I mean, the gowns, the glamour, the glitz, so pretty. But I didn't know, as a fashion designer, if you had any inclination of whether or not, of how accurate historically those outfits were. Anybody have a guess of what this is? Katie says, is it a camera? Yes, it's a camera, but wait. Just wait. You're not ready. Ta-da! It's one of those like old-timey cameras. How fun is that? I have always wanted one of these. It doesn't work, and that's okay. I don't even think I can. Nope, I can't see through it. This does not work. But how flipping cool is this? So fun. I've seen people turn these into lights. So they'll attach an Edison bulb either through the lens out the front, or they'll do something here and have an Edison bulb that's like a tube. It's not the kind. It's a like a not a rectangle, but you know what I mean, the longer ones. And I just thought when I saw this, how cool would that be if I could find someone who could rewire this thing into a lamp? A little desk lamp. It doesn't have to even give off a lot of light, just something whimsical and moody. I think this would be so fun. I love it. I wish I knew how it worked. I think I'm sure there's a way to, Kodak film. The film's in here. It's still in there. Do you think I could get it developed? Oh, no, it's empty. I got excited for nothing. There's no film, just the roll, like the stem that the roll goes on. Man, I was so excited for a second. Oh, I got really excited. Oh, well, that's okay. Well, we'll close him up for now. But yeah, if you know any local companies in Ohio that does that kind of thing, that could make this into a cool lamp, I would be so down for that. But yeah, that's a fun little thrifting find I found at my job. Gotta love that. Also, I'm planning on thrifting. Hold on, let me move this back where it was. I'm planning on thrifting all of my Christmas gifts. Well, not all, but most of my Christmas gifts this year. And a lot of you said that you would love to see that process. So I think what I'm going to do is do a vlog like I did a couple years ago, where I take you along on my Christmas shopping to various thrift stores and do Christmas shopping thrifting edition. By the way, thank you all for your prompt and so helpful feedback on my community post on YouTube. That was so nice. Basically, my channel hasn't grown in the last few months. And the only thing I did differently was did more YouTube lives and stopped doing my YouTube shorts. And I really didn't think that my YouTube shorts got me that much traffic. Like, it got me traffic in the shorts side of YouTube, but it didn't really, I didn't think it garnered a lot of subscribers. Well, apparently I'm wrong, I'm dumb, and it did. And so when I stopped doing the thrifting shorts, my traffic just, well, my new traffic just stopped. Everybody who's already subscribed and is loyal and shows up every week, they don't go anywhere. They're always showing up, which thank you. Thank you so much if you're one of those people. But new people, like my analytics told me this month, I've gained no subscribers. In fact, I'm -2, which has not happened in a very long time. So I think some adjustments are due my channel because I don't want to be done growing. I'm not even at 4,000 subscribers yet. So that'll be probably on the horizon. So if you like thrifting things, that should be something you can look forward to. Deb says, I love old cameras. I have 2 that just sit on display. Okay, you and my friend Nicole would get along very well because she has an entire cabinet of old cameras that are ornate and gorgeous and don't work. I'm pretty sure. Hers are in better condition than this one, and she could probably get them to work if she wanted. They're just so beautiful. I'm telling you, the more modern we get, the uglier things get. The more efficient we make things, the uglier they get. Like, let's just talk about bridges for a second. You know the London Bridge, the one that shows up in Peter Pan and it's like perfect and beautiful and ornate and blah. That's not the London Bridge. No, the London Bridge is this modern, ugly eyesore that they redid when the old bridge decided to just crumble from age. But the old bridge was gorgeous, if I'm remembering correctly. What is it? What is it about building new things where they just don't have charm and whimsy and art? I don't know. Maybe it's just my creative side talking, but if you're going to build something, make it pretty. You know, is that too much to ask? Maybe it is. Maybe that's just too big of an ask. But my friend Nicole has some beautiful cameras on display in her home that I'm quite jealous of, and I've always wanted one like this. So now I have one. And I may or may not turn it into a lamp. Taco says, love when you go thrifting. Thank you. I'm so glad you support that. That will be coming up quite often in the future, probably starting in December since I'm doing lives all through November. But yeah, December is going to be back to thrifting things. I'm still sort of in 2 minds about whether or not I want to thrift at Goodwill. It's easy for me because they're so accessible, but their prices are nutty. They have skyrocketed. The one in my town was the last to hold on to their good prices, and now they've just whoosh. And that makes me very sad and makes me not want to film them. And I don't want everything I film to be like griping about the prices. Well, look at this. This is too much money. I don't want it to be like that. But it's just so easy. And Goodwill, I'm not going to lie, people search for that. That's a very clickable thing to put in your title. So I'll probably just have to suck it up. Deb says the fashion is very, very close to historical accuracy. We're talking about Miss Fisher's murder mysteries. The 20s are known for beautiful gowns and extravagance, boxier silhouettes, and amazing hats and hair accessories. Yes! What is up with... Oh, my word. The hair accessories were beautiful. I mean, the hats were so ornate. The dresses, oh my goodness. I think they were so flattering to people of any size. The way they fit, it accentuated the shoulders and there's always kind of this sash that hits around the thighs as opposed to, the small of your waist here. That seemed to be a different dress style altogether that wasn't really prominent in the 20s. I think 20s fashion should kind of come back, at least in dresses. I think the silhouettes were so pretty and kind of flattering to a lot of different sizes. Maybe that's just me, but I think 20s fashion is gorgeous no matter what. Emma says, that's such an awesome camera. The reason I was asking about Pinterest is because I'm very local to you in Ohio and was wondering if you wanted to get together and go on a coffee date. Okay. I can see why you wanted a private message now. Yeah, that'd be fun. I'm always down for meeting new people, especially if you're local. I'll tell you what, I have a business email that I link in the description box of every video. You're more than welcome to email me there. I use it for business, but for special occasions, you're welcome to email me on that. And we'll go from there. Does that sound good? And I'm always up for coffee. I mean, you had me at coffee. You had me at local and you had me at coffee. So I think that'd be very fun. Taco says, what's one unicorn item you hope to find one day while thrifting? Oh, that is a difficult question. I always have a running list of things that I've wanted. So this isn't my unicorn item, but it is something that I've thought about a lot. I would love a quilt. Like I have a couple quilts now, but they're not the colors I want and they're not the design I want. I would love to have a neutral toned quilt with like a charcoal black, a cream, maybe some browns that have the Ohio star on it. So Ohio has its own, flag and things, but there's a quilted star for Ohio, which is really cool. I didn't know that. Another quilter told me. And once I saw that, I'm like, oh my word, I need it. I need it in a quilted blanket. And I need the blanket to be big enough to either cover a bed, even if I don't put it on my bed. I want it to be big enough to where I can just whoosh, wrap around me like a Jedi robe. That would be such a cool item. I would also love a vintage tea set with a teapot and everything. And what was the other item? Oh, I know. This probably isn't a unicorn item, but it is up there. I would love a old-time rotary phone. It's called a princess style, where it sits on the cradle. So everybody, if you remember 101 Dalmatians, the cartoon version, where Cruella picks up the phone talking to her minions, and it sits on that cradle and it's a rotary phone, that phone, but prettier. That style of phone. Rotary, it has to turn around, it has to do the thing. If you could find me one that works, that can be plugged in and actually make phone calls and looks gorgeous, that would probably be my unicorn item. I don't need it. It has nothing to do with need. It is a want. It is purely a want. That's probably one of my big unicorn items. That's why whenever I go thrifting, if I see a rotary phone, I have to do the thing. I have to go because it scratches an itch in my brain. I can't explain it. And you all know you want me to. I know. Deb says, Taco, I'm hoping to thrift this perfect green detailed china. Ooh, complete set. Similar to the Dior set at the thrift store someday. Oh, that'd be gorgeous. Okay, I don't think I've ever been on like Dior's radar. Well, rather, I know I'm not on Dior's radar. Dior has never really been on my radar, but I follow this fashion influencer that loves Dior. And I never really understood the hype until I found their more historically accurate pieces, like home decor pieces. I totally get the vibe now. I totally understand why she loves it. That sounds beautiful. I can completely picture what you're saying. And now we're talking about tea sets. Emma says that her favorite period in history is like the 20s, 30s, and 40s. Oh, that sounds so fun. They're just fun eras, aren't they? I think once you get to the 50s, things start to get a little more wild, less elegant and more fun, if that makes sense. Fun as in just kind of wild and I mean, poodle skirts. I wouldn't call those elegant, but they are fun. Taco says, I have one, Cassie. The phone is in Ohio in my storage. It's glass. It's glass. They make them in glass? Taco, you should not have told me that. And it's a rotary phone. Stop. Okay, at the very least, I'm going to need a photo of this thing. I'm going to need to see proof of this beautiful thing. Oh, that sounds incredible. I'm high-key jealous that you have this beautiful. That is a unicorn item for sure. So fun. What's it doing in storage? I would like to demand. It needs to be displayed somewhere where people can admire it and drool over it. Deb says vintage Dior is stunning. Like when Christian was still the designer. Incredible pieces. Ooh, okay. While you were saying that, I'm going to look up vintage decor. Not vintage decor. Vintage Dior to see what that looks like. Also, fun fact, I also went on a research tangent during the last sprint about scented candles and the history of scented candles because I didn't know when it began and I needed to know if scented candles were a thing in the 30s. Apparently, the Roman Empire started it. Who knew? And Egyptians too, I think. Let's see. Vintage Dior home, maybe? Vintage Dior home. That didn't give me as many pictures as I was hoping. Well, fiddle. Short for fiddlesticks, if any of you were wondering. That was a common go-to word to say when we were frustrated growing up. Fiddlesticks. You can thank my mom for that one. Taco says, I will find that photo. I will send a picture to you on Instagram. Thank you. I would love that. And if you ever find yourself not wanting it anymore, please let me be the first person you call. Yeah, Deb says, I need a picture of that too. That's so funny. Okay, Emma, sounds good. I love that you guys love thrifted things and that we can talk about this. This is so fun. But I feel like if we don't get to the next sprint, we're going to just be chatting about this all day. Although, if you would like to skip the last sprint and just chat for a while, I'm cool with that. But we've got to decide which one we want. Do you want a sprint? One more? Or would you like to chat for a little bit longer? You can let me know in the comments, please. That's one thing I wish I had a budget for is to go vintage thrifting. Like we have a antique mall that's fairly close. I mean, it's a bit of a drive, but it's not too far. You can get through a few chapters of an audiobook. Let's put it that way. But it's so massive. I've taken you there before. I think I took you there on my 400th or 300th video upload, which I kind of need to do. I was hoping to do it again for my 400th upload, and then I surpassed my 400th upload, I think, and didn't realize. Christian Dior Designs. Try that. Okay, I'm going to try that. Christian Dior Designs. Christian Dior Designs. Let's see. Ooh, lots of dresses come up. Ooh. Oh, they're so whimsical. You all should Google it too so we can look at the same things. Oh, all the fluttery bottoms of the dresses. Love that. Okay, you want to hear about my favorite dress of all time. Just all time. In a movie, it is White Christmas. No, not the red dress. It's the pink dress. When they're singing, the best things happen while you're dancing. My voice is shot right now, so that's not a good rendition. But it's that song, and it's the pink dress that she twirls in. I have wanted my own version of that dress since I first saw the movie, and it has not changed. Every year I say, Mom, I want that dress. Because we all watch it together as a family. one is the dress of dreams. Oh, just so pretty. But I can't sew, so that's not going to happen. And I don't have the budget to pay someone to sew it for me, because that would be an option as well. But, oh, Deb, these are beautiful dresses. I can see why you love them. Yeah, it's all the like layers and fluttery skirts and whimsical beading and ooh, so pretty. Love it. Okay, cool. I'm going to have to do a deep dive into that. I could definitely fixate on that for a while. You guys are talking to each other. I love it. I love that you guys like talk to each other. That's really fun. Can I just be mushy for a second? Oh, you all want to chat. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'm down with that. Let's chat for a little bit. I love that you guys are getting to be the point where you're like talking to each other and things. And that, back to the mushy moment, that is all I wanted when I first started my YouTube channel. When I first started it, I was in an artist development program where I was being trained to basically be the next Taylor Swift. Obviously, that didn't work out, but I learned a lot of things along the way, a lot of stage presence, a lot of songwriting, skills, and started my YouTube channel as a music channel first. So I'm always going to be grateful to that experience because it made me start YouTube, and YouTube was not a thing that it never occurred to me to start one. But all I wanted was a community where like I would go live and people would talk to me and I could talk to them. And I think I've shared this before, but the first time I went live was on Instagram and one person showed up and it was not the experience I was hoping to have, but you all show up and it makes me happy. And it like Cass of 10 some years ago would have just been shocked and amazed that you all exist. Deb says, my favorite movie is White Christmas. Yes. You can make the dress for me. Deb, are you serious? Don't joke about that. That's not a joking matter. Are you serious? You could make that. Because I'm not going to stop you. If you offer that, I can't pay you, but I will promote the heck out of it. Like, I will find any excuse to wear that dress. If you're down, I'm down, girl. I'm not going to stop you if you want to dive into that. Taco says, Cassie and her dream dress made by Deb. That sounds like a dream. I will be so down for that. White Christmas is just it's whimsy. That's all it is. It's just pure whimsy. The humor is top notch. Oh, I just love it. And the what's the word? Not stage presence. When actors have good chemistry, the chemistry, not just between the love interests, but between Bing and what's his name, the dancer guy. They are just like brothers, and I wish they did bloopers and cut scenes and things back then, because I would just love to see off-camera stuff of them prepping for the scene, and how I guarantee you they were joking and laughing the whole time. They just give off that vibe that it was just a fun set to be on. Oh, that would be so fun. Deb says, I'm dead serious about that dress. Stop. Okay. Okay. I have no other words. That would be incredible. That is a project I am head over heels for. I will support you fully. Emma says, is it Antiques Village? Yes, that is the antique mall that I've taken you to in a couple different movies. Wow. Well, some of my vlogs are kind of like movie length in a couple different vlogs. And it's just massive. It's this huge warehouse-size building. That's why it's called a mall. And it's full of vendors far and wide. Some of them sell vintage. Some of them sell more modern pieces. Some of them sell furniture that they've restored, sometimes beautifully, sometimes more modernly, There's something for everyone. If you go there, you will find something. You cannot walk out of there empty-handed. And there are some things that are affordable, but all the good stuff, the stuff you really want to take home, it costs a pretty penny, I'm not going to lie. But it's a great place to take friends who like to shop or like to thrift. It's one of the first places I offer to take them because I know there's something for everyone. You can't go in there and not find something you love. Taco says, I love Cassie and Nicole time. I love Cassie and Nicole time too. That's always fun. She was here earlier. I don't think many of you were on, but she was here at the very beginning. She had to go. She has Bible study on Wednesdays, but she made time to say hi real quick. Heck, I'm here for Deb's Zer time too. Me too. I love it. Deb says, we've talked about me sending you things anyways for ambassador stuff. You know, Fred Astaire, thank you. No, that wasn't his name. No, that wasn't Fred Astaire. That was he was in, wasn't he in the Holiday Inn? He wasn't in White Christmas. No. Hold on. I'm looking it up because that's going to bug me now. I know who you're talking about. And they do give off the same like lanky dancer vibes, but that's not the same person. White Christmas cast. Let's see. Danny Kaye. Yep, that's him. Danny Kaye. I don't know if I should. No, you're not going to see it. Sorry. It's not going to show up. But yeah, Bing Crosby, Danny Kaye, Rosemary Clooney, Vera Ellen, and a bunch of other names that I don't think they were in a lot of things. But my favorite line from the movie, you want to know what it is? My favorite line from White Christmas? Basically, the owner of this hotel, the hotel's going under, but they're having this performance, and he's trying to get dressed to go to the show. And they've sent all of his suits and stuff to the dry cleaner, so he has to wear this one outfit that's left behind. It's on purpose. They want him to wear this one outfit. And he said, I managed without your help the whole time in the army. Thank you very much. And the housekeeper kind of sniffs and straightens her spine, and she's like, it took 15,000 men to take my place. It's just the best line. It's like, I wish I could think that fast. I know it's a movie and I know it was fake, but I wish I was that quick in real life. I feel like I'm fairly quick, but not that quick. So Audrey Hepburn and Fred Astaire, Emma says. Yes, that was the Holiday Inn. And I think Bing Crosby was in it too. And Taco says, boo, I miss Nicole. I know, I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out a way this month for us to get together for a Wednesday live, but her Wednesdays are real booked up. We'll have to just do a live where we plan it ahead, let you all know in advance so you all can make it. And Deb's like, oh, shoot, you're right. See, I knew. I don't know many things, but I knew that one. No worries. I am the worst at remembering actor names. We talked about this earlier on. I think Katie and I were laughing about it. I cannot remember actor names to save my life. So no judgment at all. But question, just out of curiosity, if I were to do a live with Nicole, what day would be the best for you all? I know everybody's schedules are wonky and different, but is there like a unanimous day where you're all available? Because I'd like to do it where there's interaction. I think that would be easy. I can talk with nobody there pretty okay. But I think that would be harder for Nicole because going live is, talking on camera is easy because she knows I can edit out the mistakes, but going live, all the mistakes are there. which I can understand how that would be nerve-wracking, but I think if there are people who can talk back and forth and she can interact with, it'll be a little less nerve-wracking. So if there's a day of the week that everybody unanimously or most everybody is available, I would love to know that so that we can plan ahead for a special live hangout. I know Nicole and I have talked about doing crafty things. Maybe we can call it a creative hangout and we do crafty things. I know she was talking to me about using her Cricut machine to make bookmarks, and I thought that would be fun. She also is really good at resin making, and I would love to learn her ways. I recently got into resin a little bit, but I am a beginner with a capital B. So if I could learn some things from her, I think that'd be fun too. Just everybody getting crafty and chatting. Deb says, I know Audrey Hepburn and Fred Astaire were in Funny Face together. Her red dress in that film makes me drool. Okay, I've never seen Funny Face, but I've heard about it. I'm going to look it up right now, the dress at least, because I want to know what you're picturing. Funny Face red dress. Let's see. Whoa. Okay, I get it. I totally understand now. They dress her in, I was going to say she has the best fashion, but she probably didn't choose any of the things she wore in most movies, but she just wears everything so well. Breakfast at Tiffany's, oh my word, all her outfits. I want them all. Every single one of them. They wouldn't fit me, but I'd love them. Thursdays and Tuesdays, any day I work for myself. Oh, good for you, Deb. That's incredible. I would love to get there someday. That's my dream. That's my dream, for YouTube to be self-sustaining. But it's not ready yet. Especially when I'm -2 subscribers. That's not the way you want to go. I would love for merch to become a thing for added income. I'd love for monetization to be a way to earn, to, connect with brands and do sponsorships through them. I had one brand reach out, and I'm still debating whether or not to go with them. It's not a big brand. It's a very small brand. I don't even think it would be paid. I think the item they would send me would be the kickback, but it doesn't really go with my channel, and I'd like to make sure that it's something that would appeal to the masses. If it's an item that I think everybody would jump on and be into, then I'm down. But it's something very nuanced, and I don't think it's for my audience, although it is a cool item. Oh, all the things I would accomplish if that came true. But yeah, that's my pipe dream, to be the next Zoe Sugg or Mikkel Jancy or who's another one? Alison Bickerstaff. Alison Bickerstaff has the dreamiest YouTube channel if you haven't watched her. Thursday or a weekend, okay? Sounds good. I can work with that. Seems like Thursdays are a good day for people. I own 6 Audrey Hepburn films, and I love them. Fashion icon and my favorite actress of all time. I feel like Audrey Hepburn movies would be so inspiring to fashion designers, because not only is it a time capsule where you can see the top glamour fashion of the time period, but also she just looks good in everything. You could literally put her in a tent and she'd make it look like a runway piece. Deb says, I'll happily become a brand for you once I get more footing. Girl, I'm down. It's a plan. I am so serious. That'd be so fun. And you all know how passionate I am about helping small businesses. I mean, I'm a small business, and I know how much it would mean for like someone bigger than me to like scoop me up and help me with, exposing me to their audience. I want to be the kind of person who does the same thing to smaller people. Like, that's why I've, partnered up with people. I mean, it hasn't always worked out, but like I've partnered up with people who are smaller than me, or I've, for instance, at the time, my friend Allie Lee, who's shown up on the channel every so often, she reached out to me, and the first thing I looked at, for legitimacy, was her numbers on YouTube, and she was smaller than me at the time. And I thought, I was small. I was that number not that long ago, so I'm gonna reach out and see how this goes. And we became friends. So I don't let numbers stop me. I think it's so important to give to be a small business that helps small businesses. So Deb, I'm so down for that idea. Absolutely. Katarinsky says, I have to leave. Hope everyone had a nice evening. Whatever day you choose for your other hangout, I will try to make it. Thank you, Katarinsky. I'm doing a live every Wednesday this month for the month of November. And it's going to be a creative hangout like this where we do, creative things, 20-minute sprints, and chat in between. So if you'd like to come next week, you're more than welcome. It would be really fun. I probably should wind this down since it's 9 o'clock and 9:30 is my grandma bedtime. But I so appreciate you all showing up. I hope this was beneficial to you and that you all had fun. I'm loving doing these creative lives. I think it's good for me to set aside time to do these creative things that life gets in the way of. And I think it's also a great opportunity for us to connect. Not quite face to face, but kind of. It's the closest we can get. I would love to do a meet and greet someday. I don't know when that would happen or how that would happen. Probably just pick a bookstore that's close enough for me to drive to and close enough for you to drive to and just meet there and have coffee and chat. That would be the dream. But for now, this is sort of that in between, at least for me. So thank you all for being here. I'm glad you're here and that you show up every week. Or every time I do this, at least. I am doing this every week for the month of November. So if you would like to show up next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you're more than welcome to. I had somebody ask if they could take a nap during the live, and I said, yep, that is a total valid activity to do. So if you all need to catch up on your sleep, that might be a good time to do it. I need to catch up on my reading. I've been working so hard on all of these different writing projects that I'm struggling to make time to read because you can't do it all. But currently I'm reading The Wishing Game. It's a book of the month pick, and it's really good. It's kind of inspired by Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It's that same sort of premise, except with this story, the Chocolate Factory is an author who's written this really cool children's series and has decided to write, and hasn't written a book for years and years and years. And all these children are like, what happens? I love this series, but he's not writing anymore. And he finally writes one more book, but he's only giving out one copy. And he has this contest. I don't know the details of it yet because I've only just started the book. He's started this contest where people can join to win the book. And it's just the cutest story so far. I'm very invested 2 chapters in, which is, a tall order to invest somebody 2 chapters in, but I'm loving it. So I'd like to make more time to read that. What about a virtual meet and greet? Deb says. That's interesting. Okay, I have never delved into the world of Discord. My brother is that world. I am not. Should I research that? Would any of you be interested in Discord? I may have to ask in a vlog too to ask more than just a few of you. But that would be fun. I'd be so down for a coffee chat on Discord or something. Ooh, thank you, Deb. That's a great suggestion. I'll have to look into that. I'm going to write a reminder to myself right now. And I may have to enlist my brother's help because he knows Discord and I do not. It's probably not that complicated, but if I have someone who's familiar with it, I know it's totally customizable. Other than that, I know nothing. Emma says, same here, Deb. Well, do any of you have any last minute questions or topics you'd like to discuss quickly before I wind down for the evening? Any takers? I'll sip my tea and give you a chance to type if you want to. And if you don't, that's fine too. And I'm also secretly really glad that you wanted to chat instead of do another sprint because I love this. This is so fun to me. Again, 10 years ago, little baby Cass would have just been so in awe that you all are here. I love it. Taco says Discord would work. Okay. Well, I'll look into that then, and I'll see if we can set something up. That would be really fun. I don't know. How many people can you have on Discord? I don't think there'd be like 1 million of you. I feel like that maybe if 2 people showed up, I would be happy. But it would be a lot of fun if there was just 5 to 10 people. I think that'd be a healthy group, right? I know Darling Desi, if any of you watch and follow her, great YouTube account if you don't. All Things Books. She has done meet and greets at local Barnes and Nobles that are close to her. So not close to where, they could follow her home or anything, which is a safety thing I do think about when I think about meet and greets. Like, okay, how would I go home and make sure no one followed me and get my address? All that stuff is stuff in the back. Nobody thinks about that if you're not a content creator, and then you go out and meet people and it's like, oh, but wait, what if there's some random creepy person that you think you trust and they're not trustworthy? So doing online stuff like this feels far safer, although just safety aside, I would love to do in person. Taco says, I love chatting and getting to know everyone's likes. Me too. It feels like a fun little friend group. I love it. And I was telling a friend the other day, her name's Monica, if any of you aren't familiar. We've not met in person, but we met on YouTube. She's a YouTuber as well. She's real tiny. She's growing. She's almost to 1,000 followers. And we talk about YouTube quite often because we're both in it. And Katie says, this has been really fun. Me too. I agree. But what was I going to say? I totally lost my train of thought. I was going to talk about Monica, but I don't remember what I was going to say. It was about YouTube. It was about growing. Oh my word. It left my brain. As soon as I sign off here, I'm going to remember, and I'm going to be so mad. And I've left you all on a cliffhanger now. Ugh, sorry. Okay, I think that's a sign that's telling me my brain is done for the night. So I'm going to leave it here. Thank you all so much for being here. This has been so much fun chatting, getting to know you. Feels like a little friend group. Just makes me so happy that all of you are here and that this is real and that this is a thing. Ooh, I love it. Well, for anybody who wants to join next week, I'll be here Wednesday, 6 p.m., doing another live all through the month of November. It'll be Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it'll be the same format, creative hangout, doing 20-minute sprints, and then chatting. So if you're down for that, I'm down for that. So I will see you all hopefully next week, and of course in a vlog on Saturday. Thank you so much for being here. I love you all, and I will see you next time. Bye. Let's see if I can end this stream without thoroughly embarrassing myself. Night, Deb. Night, Emma. Night, Taco. Have a great night, you guys. Bye.